Recording.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi Shali Sadri, Bayasirli Amri Wala Lugdata Millisani Qali Rabbi Zidinma. Now, children, today we are here to discuss a very important topic of our computer science paper 1, that is draw and annotate a diagram. So, by the way, what I have tried to do here is I just tried to include all the questions that have come till now. And along with that, what else can also come in the paper also discussed. So this is going to really be very helpful for you. This is the question that is coming in O levels 2210, IGCSE 0478 as well as 0984. Now, first thing we'll talk about that. By the way, along with that, before each question, there's also this is also being mentioned that in which year or specimen paper is this question was there. So the first question is 2210 specimen paper 1A, and you can see the question is draw a diagram to represent how virtual memory is created and used. Now just looking at the marks, 4 marks, and this is what you simply need to draw. Just to make you understand, once again, what they expect you to do is just draw the boxes. Do not draw the diagram just the way this comes in our paper, that if I'm asked to draw a computer, I will be drawing a computer. No, not at all. You simply have to draw the box and just write down the appropriate term inside the box. And then you have to draw the lines, and you need to simply talk about a few terminology that are supposed to be there, or a few simple keywords that are supposed to be there, that is going to make the concept a little clearer. So it's for a 4-mark question. First thing is the diagram shows a hard drive. The hard drive is partitioned in some way to create the virtual memory. Then you have drawn the RAM also, and then you have indicated that the movement of pages or the movement of data is taking place between RAM and right. And this is what is going to give you 4 out of 4. This is just an example. And here we can see on one side there's RAM being drawn, on other side there's hard drive being drawn, because you remember that hard drive has the virtual memory. So this is going to very easily give you 4 out of 4. And this is in specimen paper 1A. Any questions? Okay. Now, if there is no question, it means that it is very brightly understood. Virtual memory, you remember, that is created in the empty space of the hard drive. That's why it's shown here. And then a 2-headed arrow indicating that the data is transferred from RAM to virtual memory and vice versa. So this will definitely give you 4 out of 4. Just simple diagram and nothing else. Now, the next question is 2210, 0478, 0984, and June 2023, paper 1-1. And where we can see the question is draw and annotate a diagram to represent the process of farming. Now, first of all, you need to be very clear about what farming is. So if you are clear about farming, then there will be no problem. So here, it is 1 mark for awarded for each correct part of the diagram. And what they expect you to draw: users clicking or opening attachment or link that triggers the download. See, now remember, it's not phishing. It's farming. It means that user is going to click on certain things, and through that malware will be installed on his PC, and then malicious software is downloaded onto the user's computer, and user enters a website address, and he is redirected to a fake website. So for that, this is what you should be including. This should be a thought process. You just write down the key points for your own self, and then you draw the diagram. Again, we can see here this. Actually, by the way, the answers are taken just from the marking scheme, so that you are completely clear how the questions. They want you to include these things at least. So user's computer, and inside the user's computer, you have drawn malware, just showing that malware is installed. And then you have written a diagram, like a statement. User is clicking on the link that is going to download malware on the computer. And then you can see it's directed to the fake website rather than the original one. So you simply have drawn a user's computer, malware installed. You have just written this thing, the user is typing the URL. And when he has typed the URL, so the request is redirected to a fake site, and instead of the real website. So this is the real website, and you are taken to the fake website. So again, we can see an arrow drawn, and then you can see an arrow direction and the line. That's all. Any questions regarding this process of farming? I hope that we remember that if with Pharming, the malicious code is installed on the user's computer. Children, any questions before we proceed to the next one? Okay, now the next question is DDoS. And let's see, this question has come thrice in our paper. And this is what you can see here. It has come in June 2023, paper 1-2. This has come in June 2024, paper 1-2, exactly the same question. And it has come in June 2025, paper 1-2, paper 1-2, and paper 1-3 in June 2025. So maybe, I mean, just keeping our fingers crossed, maybe something similar to this one may come in your paper this year also. Fine, but just keeping our fingers crossed. Now moving to this question, the way that has been framed. A distributed denial of service attack is a cybersecurity threat. Draw and annotate a diagram to represent the process of a DDoS. Now in June 2024, paper 1-2, you can see it's being, a company has a website that is suffering a distributed denial of service attack. Draw and annotate a diagram to show the process of DDoS. And then another one is the company uses a proxy server to keep the web server safe from distributed denial of service attack. Complete and annotate a diagram to show how a DDoS attack is going to be carried out on the web server. So questions are framed a bit differently, but again, the main concept is the same. And in this one, they had just drawn a box indicating the web server also. So that is the change in these three questions. And like this is for June 2025, and this was the difference. Now moving to what they expect. Now, again, a little bit of the difference in the marks. 5 and 5 were in the June 2024 and June 2025 papers, and in June 2023, the question carried 6 marks only. But still, what they want you to write, and for that, you need to be very clear about the marking points. The diagram demonstrates malware downloaded to several computers. And remember, it's several computers with DDoS and single computer with DOS. Be very clear about it. And you have to draw several computers where malware is being installed. Now, I'm repeating, malware downloaded to several computers, turning them into a bot or zombie. Creating a network of bots or zombies, third party or hackers initiating the attack. Bots are going to send the requests to the web server at the same time, or in other words, they are going to bombard the server with unnecessary traffic. The web server fails due to the requests, and legitimate requests are not being processed because of a lot of requests coming from different sources. The legitimate requests will not be entertained, and that is what is the problem with your DDoS. Are you clear? Are you clear about this whole process of DDoS? Yes, children, any questions? Okay, now there are different diagrams that are drawn for you to make you understand that how the questions can come in the paper. Which, by the way, the same diagram was there. That's why I've just drawn it twice here. This is a third party, and the third party is sending the malware. So you have drawn a box indicating third party, and then you have drawn you can say a sort of a botnet that is going to be composed of different computers working as bots. And you can see this is third party generating the requests to the computer systems, and they're creating a botnet, and the requests are sent to the web server. So you can see here, third party sending malware. This is what you wrote. First of all, you drew the diagram, then you wrote the words, and you are done with the work. Malware turns computers into bots, and then requests are sent to the web server. Again, direction, arrows in direction. And then web server cannot handle all the requests and crashes. And this is a very simple diagram. And if you have drawn it accurately, then you will be definitely neatly and accurately, then you will be able to score 6 or 5 the marks that are the paper is containing the marks. And another example, you can see a botnet is again created, but here the bots are handled differently. So third party is initiating the attack, and bots are created, and the requests are then sent from the bots to the web server, and then the legitimate computer system, the one who was supposed to get the requests processed, will not be able to process because the web server is not able to handle so many of the other requests coming from different multiple sources. and cannot connect. And this is what you can see, again, a simple diagram to show that computer which is supposed to access the network is not able to access. A diagram drawn with a word computer, an arrow drawn, and the X or your crosses denoting that you cannot access this web server at all. Any questions? Again, we can see this question has come thrice in the paper, and these are just some examples that you need to have. And the questions like this is what they want you to draw. Simple. Third party generating requests, sending malware, creating the botnet, and the botnet is going to send the requests to the web server, and web server is going to crash because it cannot handle so many of the requests. No questions? G children, if there is any question, then please do ask. Okay, I'm expecting that this is very clear. Now, another question is 221004780984 June 2024, paper 1-3. Complete and annotate the diagram to demonstrate how packet switching is used to transmit data across a network, including the use of routers from device A to device B. And they had drawn this device A or device B or computer A, computer B, and the diagram. Now, this is what the marking points should be including. The diagram demonstrates one mark for each packets sent through several routers, taking different routes from device A to device B. Packets arrive out of order. Packets need to be reordered on the receiver's end or when they are received by device B so that they can be understood readily by the receiving computer. So this is what they want you to draw. And this is a 4-mark question. And if you remember, when we were doing chapter number 2, and when we were doing packet switching, I told you that this diagram can come in the paper. And it had come in the paper. And this is what is the simple diagram. You simply draw device A with a router, and you simply draw device B with a router B or device, a router B or computer B, or in this manner you have written device or computer and router. And this is, by the way, definitely we are not asked to go for the coloring. So by the way, what comes to your mind? How can we do it? Any suggestion regarding the use of these? So what can I do in order to show that the packets are like the formation of packets and packets are sent over different routes and then reaching the destination? Any suggestion from your end, please? Any children, any suggestion from your end? Just coming, like maybe you were sitting there and this was very clearly in your mind that you have to show the data formation in packets form. So what can I do in order to work? Anything? Numbers, okay, great. Numbers, okay, Zara, very nice. Anything else? You can do the numbers perfectly, okay. Anyone has any other? Great, wonderful. Samia, very nice. You can have different patterns also on each packet. That's perfectly okay. I mean, this is very simple. Anyone else has anything else to add to this discussion? Anyone else? Okay, now if I'm assuming that so this is very correctly. Either you just draw different patterns rather than definitely you will not be carrying the color pencils with you. So definitely that is not possible. So either you make different patterns, like you may draw a pattern with dots and you may make another pattern with lines horizontally and another pattern you can make with lines vertically. I mean, that will be very easily done by you people. Like just giving an example, I may draw a packet like this and I may draw horizontal lines. This is going to be packet number 1. And then I may draw another packet and I may draw a vertical line, that is packet number 2. And then if you really want, you can simply draw another packet with the dots. That's perfectly okay. At least you have shown the differences, or if you want, you can number them also. So this is again one thing that you can see here. They're just saying examples. It's not something that is supposed to be followed in the same manner. And then you can see it's router 1, router 2, router 3, router 4, router 5. Again, this number is just an example. And you can maybe make 3 or 4 routers also. That's perfectly okay because they just want you to talk about what is supposed to be written. And if you have written these things, like Just if you have written these keywords above it, like packets are sent through several routers, that's perfectly okay. And then taking different routes, packets are arriving out of order, that is also perfectly okay. So if you have made three patterns and you have shown them reaching out of order, and then you are just saying that they are being reassembled or reordered, that's perfectly okay, and you will be definitely awarded 4 marks. Just be very clear about how to answer. Just be very confident about how to answer. You children, any questions, anything that is unclear till now? Now, next question. If there is no question, then let's move to the next one, and that is 2210 October November 2023 paper 11, and it is draw and annotate a diagram to demonstrate how a firewall works and what they want you to write. It's again a 4-mark question. The diagram includes any flow from traffic passing both ways through the firewall, an indication that criteria is set for the firewall. And if you remember, this is what we have learned, that criteria is set for the firewall. Traffic is compared to the criteria. Traffic being rejected if it does not, or if it meets the criteria, if it does not meet the criteria. Traffic being accepted if it meets the criteria, if it does not meet the criteria. So this is what they want you to include in your answer. And here again, you can see, this is again a marking scheme answer that we have drawn. Computer, a firewall. And this firewall is getting this is your network. And this firewall is going to be accepting if, for example, the traffic is meeting the criteria. And if it will be rejected if the traffic is not meeting the criteria. You can see here, computer is not denied the data because of this traffic which is not meeting the criteria. But again, we can see here, the network is accessed or the data is accessed because it is meeting the criteria. So in this manner, if you have simply drawn computer, firewall, drawn a network, you have drawn maybe a web server, and you have shown that traffic is going to be accessed, our traffic is going to be denied. That's perfectly okay. You will be able to score 4 out of 4. Any questions? Okay, the next one is 2210 October November 2023 paper 1-2, and this one is dealing with draw and annotate a diagram that demonstrates the cybersecurity threat of data interception. So for this 4-mark question, what they want you to have, devices, data is being sent from one device to another, like this between two devices. The data is being examined during transmission. Packet sniffers. Now, this is an important term that we need to include. And if you remember, this is what we have talked about, packet sniffer. So packet sniffer is used because of data interception. Again, if you remember this, intercepted data is reported to a third party during transmission and analyzed for anything useful, and connection is hacked to spoof destination address. Now, this is what is going to be included in your diagram. And you can see computer A, computer B, and third party is going to be getting, like, again, you can see this is a network. And the packet sniffer is going to be in between, sitting in between computer A and computer B, and it will be sniffing the packet. It will be actually, can say, getting the packets, observing that what is there in the packets. And this is what is written here. Packet sniffer is examining the data as it is being sent from one computer to another. And then this data will be sent to a third party. And this third party will be there to analyze the data for anything useful. Like maybe the hacker finds anything that is useless, so definitely that will be ignored. And whatever is useful for the hacker, that will be analyzed and will be used for the purpose of any malicious activity. So a very simple diagram, no problem at all. If you know the job of data interception, if you know that it's basically packet sniffing that is being done, then you are able to draw the diagram and you will be able to score. Jishan, any questions, anything that is unclear? Just see for yourself. I mean, just examine, imagine that you are sitting in the examination hall. This is the question. You will imagine data interception. You will talk about the packet sniffer. You will write down the keyword, key points on one side, and then you draw the diagram and write it down. And again, a reminder that you have to, it's okay if you think that you can draw with pencil first, perfectly okay, but always try to complete the work with pen, please. This is just a sincere advice. Any questions? Okay, now the next question is October, November 2023, paper 1-3. Draw and annotate a diagram to represent the role of a router. And again, just a reminder, router is a very important topic. I mean, maybe it can come in our paper in theoretical form, or maybe in the form of true and false, anything can come. The diagram demonstrates, and now this again is a 4-mark question. The router is examining the packet, looks for the packet header, looking for the IP address of the destination. The packet is sent towards the correct destination by the fastest route, because the router is there to decide which is the best route to be used to send the data. Router is shown connecting the devices, and router is shown assigning an IP address to the device. So this is what they should be expecting us to include in our answers. And again, very simple. Router is, it's containing the, like, router is holding the packet IP address. Routers are examining the packets to look for header that has the IP address of the destination. See, this is how the routers are sending the data. I mean, a little bit of it you have already studied in theoretical form in chapter number 3. So I hope that that is very clear to every one of you, and we all can recall that this is what is the main thing. Routers are examining the packets to look for the header, and this is sent to the destination device, and packet is sent to the correct destination device using the packet using the correct route, and that is done. That is okay for you. Again, Assalamu alaikum to those who have joined just now. We are doing the very important topic which you all are actually worried about from paper 1. This is something that is really worrying the children a lot. So this is a draw and annotate a diagram. So this is a very simple question that we are talking about right now, dealing with the routers. And this is what they want you to write. So imagine the role of a router. I mean, we know about what the routers are doing. We have talked about it recently in packet switching. So just elaborating the role of a router, and that's all. Writing the keywords, not in detail, but simple certain things in short, and you are able to score the marks. Any questions? Okay. The next question is, let's see, 0478 February, March 2024, paper 1-2. And that is, a student enters a uniform resource locator URL into their web browser. Draw and annotate a diagram to show the process from the user entering the URL to the web browser displaying the web page. It's a 5-mark question. Actually, now let's see question number. Now another question is why it is being grouped together. 2210 0478 for October November 2024 paper 1-2. First it was February March 2024, and now it is the same question. It is in a similar manner, but maybe a little bit of the variations is in October November 2024 paper 1-2. Draw and annotate a diagram to show how the web page is located and retrieved to be displayed on the student's tablet computer. And then another time it has come in 2025 June, paper 1-2, and then you can see with a little bit of the variation. Now this is what I want you all to learn. That's why they all are grouped together under one head to make you understand that this is what you should be careful about, that the main theme is the same, but the questions are framed a bit differently every single time. Patients use a web page to log into their account to pay for the treatment they have received in the hospital. The patient enters a URL for the web page into their browser, and the web page is requested and displayed. Complete and annotate the diagram to show how the web page is requested for the patient. And here we can see this is only included patient's computer. With this, this is what is written here as an example, like cihospital.com, and URL input into the patient's computer. So this is given to you. Chabade, what strikes your mind? What should be included here in order to retrieve and show the web page on the user's computer? Can you recall? I think we are completely okay with the term DNS, chapter number 5. We have already talked about this, and this is what, see, they have not mentioned the term DNS here, but you know very well that in order to retrieve and display the web pages, we need to include these points, and there's just all the points, and these questions are carrying 5 marks for February, March, then 5 marks for October, November 2024, and 6 marks are there for the June 2025 paper 1-2's attempt. Now again, you can see here what they want you to do here. The diagram should include a URL sent from the browser to the DNS. The DNS is going to store the table and or the database of the URLs and the IPs. That is what you know. And the DNS will be searching the equivalent IP. And if it cannot be found in DNS1, then it is searched in, it is sent to DNS2. And if DNS2 is able to locate, it will be sent back to DNS1 and the entry will be made in the database. So IP address is after making the entry is returned to the web browser. The request is sent then from the web browser to the web server, and then a two-way communication between the computer system and the web server begins. And this is what is going to be mentioned. So once it is going to be web page or HTML file sent from the web server to the web browser, and web browser is rendering the HTML. So these are the main terminologies that they want you to include in your answer for DNS. And just a few sample examples. Student's computer, again, you can see just the box, just the simple rectangle. And you have written student's computer, and then the URL, and again, we can see the direction. Just remember the same diagram as we have learned in chapter number 5. Student's computer sending a request or URL sent to the DNS. DNS is going to find its equivalent IP address. And then this is written as 2. Finding the equivalent IP for the URL. The IP is returned to the student's computer. Then it will be it will be definitely, now they have not drawn DNS2, but that's perfectly okay. If you want, you can draw. If you don't want, that is perfectly okay. So by the way, do not think that this is the only answer. I keep on repeating, it's just an example. A child can draw this student's computer on this side, that's perfectly okay. Do not get confused that this is the only answer, and you cannot score if it's a bit different. Not at all, please. Again, marking schemes are containing a few things that they want you to include minimal in your answer. If you're including, if you have your own words, if you have a little bit molded the diagram as per your own understanding, but it is meeting the requirement, then you will definitely be scoring full marks, inshallah. So please be clear. Any questions, any confusion till now regarding this annotate and draw diagram? Just to make you understand that this one is the minimum requirement of the CIE people, the ones who are sitting there for the markings with the marking schemes. So this is why I am using exactly the same. Okay, thank you very much for quickly responding. Now moving to this third stage, IP address is sent back to the student's computer. And then the fourth one is a request is sent to the web server. The web server is going to process the request and it will be sending the HTML web page back to the student's computer. So either you draw a double-headed arrow the way we have it in the book, and that is perfectly possible. But you need to mention that HTML web page is sent back. Now, this was just one example of DNS. Now, let's see what another example. This is somewhat similar to what we have in our book. Now, patient's computer, or you can say the web browser. Patient's computer is the one that is the last one. Patient's computer is going to be connected with the sending the URL to the DNS server 1. DNS server 1 will send it back to the DNS server 2. And if URL is not found, it's sent to another DNS. And then the equivalent IP address is returned. So this is what you can see here is drawn here. And then again, a request is sent to the web server. A web page data is going to be sent. And this is how the whole process is repeated. By the way, since this part was already there in the question, that's why, like this part was already there in the question. That's why I'm not talking about this one. Patient's computer with the URL and this message was already there in the question. But this is what they want you to include in your answer, and DNS server 1, DNS server 2, and then writing down the keywords. Searching for the matching IP in DNS server 1. If URL is not found, then it is sent to DNS server 2, and then DNS server 2 is going to return the IP address back to the DNS server 1. And in this manner, you can see the IP address is sent back, and the request is sent to the appropriate web server after this, and then a two-way communication is going to begin. And lastly, the third way that you can draw is this one. Web server, web browser, DNS server 1, DNS server 2. So web browser is sending a request to the web server after connecting with the, again, you can see here, you can just even mention the numbers. URL sent to DNS server 1. DNS server 1 is going to send the request to DNS server 2. If URL is not found, it is returned. Then DNS server is going to send the IP address back to the web browser, and then a two-way communication is going to begin. So this is how they want you to draw. For boxes drawn, wrote the right words, wrote the drew the diagrams properly, drew the lines properly with the arrows, and your work is done. Any questions till now? Okay. Now moving to the next question. Achha, this question has again come a number of times. So again, this is again grouped together, FDE cycle. Now, this is June 2024, paper 1-1. The computer processes instructions using the fetch, decode, execute cycle. Draw and annotate a diagram to show the process of the fetch stage of the FDE cycle. Fetch stage. And you remember what is fetch stage including. Now, this is again a 4-mark question. And what they want you to have in your answer. The registers MAR, MDR, and PC, which are a part of the fetch execute cycle, as fetch stage. Address is sent from PC to MAR. Just recall the stages that we have learned and the sequence also. Using address bus, avoid anywhere for correct use of the term address bus. PC is incremented. Address is sent from MAR to RAM. Data instructions are sent from RAM to MDR using the data bus. And then instructions are sent from MDR to CIR or CU. Control unit is going to send the control signals for any part of the process using control bus. So this is what is the minimal requirement to be included in your answer. And again, you can see here, on one side it's RAM, another side is control unit. And inside this control unit, the CIR is drawn. It's a very interesting thing. Just the use of the arrow. Again, remember, first is your PC, and from PC, the instruction is going to the MAR. That's why just after PC, it's MAR. And then from MAR, the request is going to be sent to the RAM, and RAM is going to return the data or the instruction or the data or the instruction or whatever is there will be sent to the MDR using the data bus. And earlier it was the address bus that was being used to send the address from MAR to the RAM. And this is what you simply wrote in simple English. You wrote address send from MAR to RAM using the address bus. That's perfectly okay. And then after that, you can say the instruction is sent to the MDR using the instruction or the data sent back from RAM to the MDR, that is using the data bus. That will give you another point. And then the right arrow. Direction of the arrow is from RAM to MDR. And then from MDR, it goes to CIR. Because the CIR is there to work on the instruction. Decoding starts with NCIR. That's why this is going to end your process, and this is what they want you to write. The instruction is sent to CIR to be decoded. So this is your entire fetch stage of the FDE cycle. This was one question, and then another one is October-November 2025, paper 1-2. And here we can see a computer with a von Neumann architecture has a central processing unit that performs the fetch, decode, execute cycle. Complete and annotate the diagram to show how instructions are decoded and executed. Again, we can see here. But a little change is they have drawn control unit and ALU. And this is a little change in this question. And that is why let's see that what are the marking points. It's a 5-mark question. CIR is built into CU. Just remember, CIR is a part of CU. Whether you draw it yourself here or you draw the CU and the CS. Just showing you once again. See, CU has CIR. Same case is what they want you to include. You just remember one simple diagram, and then no matter what the question comes in the paper, you should be able to answer. So the diagram should include CIR built into CU. CU is going to be storing the instruction. It will be decoding the instruction. Instruction is decoded using an instruction set. Signal is sent from CIR to ALU. Now, this is a bit different. Although the main concept is the same von Neumann architecture, but the question is framed differently. And this is what they want you to include in their answer. Instruction is decoded using an instruction set. Signal is sent from CIR to ALU. CU sends the signal to RAM. ACC is built into, again, you need to mention the ACC here in ALU, and you need to mention the CIR built into control unit. So this is something that you need to be a little bit careful about. Otherwise, the rest of the stuff is the same. CIR here and your ACC here. So these are certain things that you need to know in order to, I hope that we all are confident now about how to draw an annotator diagram. No one will be confused at all, inshallah, after the revision today. ACC is storing any data needed for instruction. ELU is there to execute the instruction, or it is there to perform the mathematical and the logical operations. So this is what is the minimal requirement, and this is a sample diagram. Control unit has CIR. Arithmetic logic unit has ACC. ACC is storing the data needed to execute the instruction. C uses instruction set to decode the instruction and sends a signal to ALU to execute the instruction. So by the way, you don't have to rote learn these. Please, I'm repeating these words repeatedly, that you don't have to rote learn these things, and this is what is needed here. So just look at the answer, what is written here, what is drawn here, how is it being written here, simple words, simple statements written, and you will be able to score 5 marks, 5 out of 5. Children, any questions? Okay, now, if there's no question, now let's move to October-November 2024, paper 1-3. An instruction is fetched from RAM into the MDR to be decoded. Complete and annotate the diagram that shows how the data is decoded once it has been fetched into the MDR. Now, this is again linked with the same, but it's a bit different. So let's see what the marking points are, and then you are okay. Thank you very much for responding. The diagram should include data instructions sent from MDR to the CIR or CU that you can see. This is what we talked about right now using the data bus. The CIR is built into the CU. Data instructions separated into operand and opcode. If you remember the two terminologies, control unit is sending, is decoding, and CU is decoding the instructions using an instruction set. So this is the diagram they want you to draw, and MDR is here. Control unit is containing CIR, and by now we are all clear about the use of control unit as the main thing that is there to store the CIR, current instruction register. And see, this seems to be so difficult when you read it. It's a 4-mark question, and again, so simple. They wanted you to draw one box with control unit written, and inside you will draw the CIR, and then you have MDR on the other side, and then you simply say instruction is sent using data bus, and the instruction is sent to control unit, and which is there to decode the instruction using the instruction set. And that will give you definitely 4 out of 4. Any questions? Okay, children, just join once again, inshallah. So we are going to continue with the rest of the topics that are supposed to be done. So just very quickly rejoin, and then we'll continue with our lessons. Okay, Allah Hafiz.